What up, what up? Jesse giving Jeff a little bit of a hard time there on the break about Tom Brady. Zach, we got to get your input. This is Zach Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Brady out for the season. How many leagues did you have Brady in?
0.
I had him in 0.
I knew he was going to get hurt.
Me too.
No. But luckily for me, I don't have any leagues, which is nice. So I don't got to deal with.
I mean, I just only had him in 2 dynasty leagues, so I won the title with them in the one, and my team's so good.
The other one is the league we're in with Paul Chargian.
Yeah, so I'm still gonna win the title in that league. It's so good.
Exactly. Well,
so screw you, man.
For those of you that are just joining us, this is Testosterone Sports, and we welcome you here. You can check us out online as usual at testosteronesports.com. After the show tonight, Jeff, Zach, and I will be on there doing this thing we call the Fat Chat. We'd like to welcome you to the Fat Chat. You can come online, testosteronesports.com. We'll help you with all of your matchup-related questions, who you should start, who you should bench for the Week 2 action. But let's get to the meat of the show here, gentlemen. We break down all of the matchups. Week 2 is upon us, and there's no bigger game in Week 2 than the marquee Monday Nighter, Philadelphia against Dallas. What a fat game, Jeffrey.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, really excited about these two teams who both look really, really good in Week 1's matchups. Dallas took down Cleveland. Philadelphia just crushed whoever it was they played, the Rams.
Everybody's going to crush the Rams.
The Rams really suck. So Philadelphia looking good. They go on the road to Dallas, where I think they're going to have a little harder time with this Cowboys offense that's really headed toward the Super Bowl, if you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Dallas gained 7.7 yards per play against Cleveland. They were running the ball at will against that front. Is there a better offense in football now that Tom Brady's down than Dallas, Zach?
You got to go with the Cowboys. I just think they have too many weapons. I mean, they got the running game in Barber. He runs hard. They got receivers in Witten and Creighton and Owens. So as far as I'm concerned, they're the number 1 offense in the league, and nobody's going to stop them, not even the Eagles. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I expect a high-scoring game.
You got to.
You got to. Yeah.
Although Dallas stopped the pass better than every other team in the NFL last week besides the Ravens. So I do think that they've got some playmakers in their secondary. And McNabb, now and then he'll make that mistake. But to me, it all hinges on Westbrook.
But I still think the Cowboys are suspect to the deep ball, which McNabb is phenomenal at. So I expect maybe a couple of deep passes. I know they're going to try it and maybe get Jackson for a deep ball. So.
Well, you guys know how big of a Romo guy I am here, and I would definitely feel bad if I missed out on an opportunity to plug this guy. I honestly think he's the best fantasy quarterback out there right now. I've got him as number 1, and I'll tell you why. I like him better than Drew Brees because Marcus Colston is out. I like him better than Peyton Manning because he's just gimpy and still sore bummed by that knee, and of course Tom Brady out for the season. Romo looks confident. He posted over 300 yards, didn't even have a good game, and still scored over 20 points. Dallas is going to roll in this game. I mean, the Eagles will probably be throwing the ball a lot to Westbrook, trying to keep up and make it interesting. But really, I think Dallas is going to put up 28 or 31 points here. I like Dallas on Monday night.
Well, it's a Monday night game, so the big players are going to be up like crazy. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun. These two teams are going to vie for the division, in my opinion, although there's still a good team up in New York who's going to have something to say about that. But, Jesse, I know you love to plug Romo whenever you get a chance, so plug that guy all you want, man. Just plug away, bro. Plug away.
Hey, I have no problem, man. I got Romo in the tough league, so I like him. I like his chances. Philadelphia, they definitely did some damage last week. Donovan McNabb leading the league in passing yardage through 3 touchdowns. Who's he throwing these touchdowns to? I mean, Westbrook, but he connected with Hank Baskett on like a 90-plus yarder. Can fantasy owners even think about starting a guy like Hank Baskett, Zach?
Well, as long as Reggie Brown and Kevin Curtis are out, he's going to have somebody to throw to, and he's proven in the past that he doesn't need elite receivers to be productive, and he'll make those receivers productive.
I think L.J. Smith makes a great start here this weekend at tight end. He got a touchdown in their first game. He's going to be a safe outlet for Donovan McNabb. McNabb's still kind of getting used to Deshaun Jackson, the rookie phenom, and Greg Lewis. He had a pretty nice game too. So a couple players to keep an eye on. I'm going to watch and see what happens for the first couple weeks to see which player emerges if there is one off this passing game.
And just make sure if Deshaun Jackson's still on your waiver wire out there, go get him because he's definitely a guy that McNabb is targeting more than any other receiver.
Absolutely. So. Another divisional matchup to talk about here, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who absolutely erupted in Week 1. Guys, they got it going in the air as well as on the ground. Willie Parker, 3 rushing touchdowns. They play against the swinging door defense this week in the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland let Dallas ring up 487 yards of offense. So read the tea leaves here a little bit, Zach. Pittsburgh is about to blow up again, don't you think?
I think just much like they did to the Houston defense, they're going to do the exact same thing to the Cleveland offense. Big Ben was very efficient. I think he was 11 of 12 or 13 of 14 passing.
Yep.
Willie Parker had 3 touchdowns, which was one more than he had all of last year. And I think they're just going to roll just like they did last week. The only thing is I think Cleveland's offense will produce a little more than Houston. So
I really think that Cleveland at home is going to be able to stop the run. So I'm definitely not high on Willie Parker to come close to what he did last week. I think that the ceiling for this guy is 100 and a touchdown. Still a very good game, but if you're banking on that 3-touchdown performance again, you're really fooling yourselves.
Sure.
I do think that Pittsburgh will win, and they'll throw the ball very well, and I definitely think that Santonio Holmes will get into the act this weekend.
Well, last night I had a hard time falling asleep. I was just laying in my bed,
Thinking about Romo, right?
No, yeah, well, that was part of it, but letting stats flow through my brain as I am wont to do. One of the things I started to dissect and think about was how in the NFL, players that start hot tend to stay hot for a couple weeks at the beginning of the season. We can think about a guy like Lamont Jordan last year, and I think Willie Parker is that guy this year. I think he is a must start in this game. Last week I told you he was a must start. I didn't think he would get 3 touchdowns, obviously, but he did. I like him for 101 touch here against the Cleveland D that was exposed last week by Marion Barber, who scored twice. I think Willie could get in there twice. They just don't have enough confidence in Mendenhall yet. Willie's a must start. On the Cleveland side of things, though, guys, they were awful last week against the Cowboys. Derek Anderson, only 114 yards. Braylon Edwards, just 2 catches. Can they get it going against the Steelers, Zach?
they have to get it going if they want any chance in this game. And last week, I know their passing game suffered a lot, and Braylon Edwards dropped a lot of easy passes that he normally catches.
Right.
And, he's got to be looking to bounce back and have a big game this week. I'm playing him on one of my leagues. I expect a lot better game from him, and hopefully 100 and touch or somewhere around there.
Yeah, he should do better. He needs to catch the football for this team to do anything. Kellen Winslow had a great game last weekend. I think that will continue. I really don't think that Jamal Lewis is going to do very much.
Me neither.
But this team is needing Derek Anderson to step forward and make some quality decisions. I know his receivers weren't catching the ball like they normally do, but, dude, you can't be finishing as the 30th best quarterback in the NFL if you're going to try to lead your team to a victory. So, to me, Pittsburgh rolls, and it's question marks around Cleveland right now.
Sticking with the divisional matchups here in this first segment, New England, Wounded Warriors going on the road to face the upstart Jets, who now have Brett Favre infusing their fans with hope.
How good is Brett Favre, man?
They all of a sudden, they've
looks
got
good in green.
designs.
So great.
The Jets have designs on
Green and
winning
white.
the division, guys. This is a statement game. Do you think Brett Favre and the Jets have what it takes to take down the Patriots?
I do. In fact, I'm picking the Jets to win this game in the Pick'em Challenge. I think they're going to do very well. I really don't think that Thomas Jones is going to be that lights out here in this game. Something similar to what we saw last weekend, around 100 yards, all-purpose. No touchdown for him in this game, in my opinion. I like the passing game. I think Cotchery does well. The Patriots are pretty good up front, not nearly as good in the secondary, and I like Lavernius Cole to start getting going too.
Lavernius Cole's just one catch last week for 5 yards. He's been missing time so far this week in practice. Zach, it seems like to me that he and Brett Favre just aren't on the same page yet.
Well, not only that, I mean, he's got the thigh injury or whatever it is dealing with, and now he still is, I think, a little bit uncomfortable with Brett Favre. He's one of his best friends with Chad Pennington left, and he was kind of grumbling at the beginning when Brett Favre was brought in, so maybe he's not quite happy with the route the team went. But for them to be successful, they definitely need him to step up and be that receiver that he's been in the past, especially to open things up on the other side for Cotchery. So
Jeff touched on not thinking of Thomas Jones having a huge game here. I definitely concur. He averaged just their offense as a whole averaged just 3.6 yards per carry against Miami, and the Patriots are a better run stuffing D. So I think the team that might be looking a little bit more towards the run in this game is the Patriots. They've got this two-headed monster, Jeff, between Sammy Morris and Lawrence Maroney. Can either one of these guys get started by a fantasy owner?
I just don't think it makes sense right now. I mean, they're definitely looking like a three-headed attack. They also have Lamont Jordan. I think they're going to run the ball more here in this game. I would like to see it. It really seems like Lawrence Maroney does his work around the 20s or between the 20s, and then they give over to Sammy Morris. Sammy Morris just a better goal line back. Zach, don't you agree?
I don't agree, but I'm not the coach. And as a Maroney owner in a couple leagues, it's really, really frustrating.
Absolutely.
I mean, when he's in there, he looks like a tough, hard runner, and he gets these big gains, and they take him out, and they bring in this 33-year-old Sammy Morris. And not only that, they get Kevin Falk back this week, and they got Lamont Jordan. So it's really frustrating. Every time you look on the field and there's a different running back in there.
How frustrated could Randy Moss get in this game is the big question for me. If Matt
Gotta
Castle
keep your eye
comes
on
in
that.
and really doesn't perform well, this could be the beginning of Randy Moss starting to feel frustrated. He caught a nice touchdown last weekend, and I did think that Matt Castle looked fairly good. He's got a great offense to work with, but he's going to have to get the ball to his big playmaking wide receiver who's not afraid to go tell him, you're not doing a good job.
Exactly.
And not only that, I think the one receiver who takes the biggest hit is Wes Walker. Tom Brady's biggest thing was a quick release, hitting Walker in those slot routes, and I just don't think that Matt Castle has a quick enough release and isn't quick enough in making those reads. So I think Wes Walker is really going to take a hit more than anybody on that team, more than Randy Moss and more than running backs. So
San Diego lost their season opener for the second year in a row. This team is a little bit on their heels right now, not on their toes, as it were, as LT is dealing with a toe injury, as is Antonio Gates. They got to travel to Denver, Jeff, to face a hot team. Jay Cutler came out and threw for 300 yards in his first game. Just the third time in his career he did that. He looked great on Monday night.
Yeah, well, San Diego lost their home opener, a surprise loss to Carolina, but worse than that, they lost Merriman officially for the season. A very wise move, in my opinion. He had the 2 torn ligaments in his knee, needed to hang it up for the season to prolong his career. That was a wise move. And aside from that, they had no pass rush without him in there. I didn't think they were able to get to Delhomme. That left side is going to be tough for them without him. And I think that Denver surprised, and at Mile High, they're going to be tough to beat. I don't know. I'm watching real hard to see if San Diego can hang in this game, but I get the sense maybe that Denver comes away with the victory.
Yeah, Zach, you've been a big Denver guy so far as their passing game goes. You like Cutler. He gets his #1 target back this week. We'd be foolish not to mention Eddie Royal. Cutler looks like he's legit, man. Granted, it was just the Raiders, but is he a week in and week out starter yet? Would you roll him out in this game?
I'd definitely roll out Cutler. I've enjoyed watching him last year, and he progressed really well. And now not only does he have Brandon Marshall, who he developed really well with last year, now he's got this new rookie, Eddie Royal, who looked absolutely phenomenal on Monday night's game against the Raiders, and that only opens up their offense even more in the pass game. And it looks like they might be more of a passing team this year. They just don't have that one running back that Shanahan wants to commit to, which he doesn't want to.
Absolutely.
Regardless, but
Yeah, it's
definitely going to be a passing team, and Cutler's
Andre
definitely a
Hall
guy
got the start, though.
you can play
And
every
Michael Pittman scored the
twice.
touchdowns.
But then
Some
Young got a
Young-
goal line carry.
Yeah, so you can't start any of the Denver
No.
runners.
No.
Of course, you got to start LaDainian for San
Yep.
Diego, and Antonio Gates proved himself healthy last week. But as we've been telling you, Jeff, definitely hollering a lot about this throughout the preseason. Phillip Rivers is taking a step forward. Last week tosses 3 touchdowns, Jeff, including a game-breaking long one to Chris Chambers, his new top target. What do you think about Rivers going against a pretty stellar secondary here?
Well, I think he's going to continue his progression. He only had 2 and some change yards through the air, through those 3 touchdowns. That was nice. I think he's really good in the red zone, and it's because they have good targets. They have Gates, they have Chambers, and they also have Vincent Jackson. Kid's 6'5", so in the red zone, that's a fantastic target to be able to throw to. So I think they're going to open it up more as LT continues his very slight descent back down the ladder, and so I think that they are going to throw the ball more, and I like Rivers. To me, I do think that because LT was held out of the end zone last weekend, he's going to be hungry to get in this week, especially against a division rival in their house. So LT in the end zone this week.
Absolutely. You heard it here very first. We thank you for joining us. We're going to take a brief break, and we'll be back right after this Testosterone Fantasy Sports. What's up, fantasy football junkies? It's Jesse. You're checking us out behind the scenes on the set of Testosterone Fantasy Sports, the #1 fantasy football show for prognostication in the Twin Cities area on cable access. You want to make sure you check out our website as well while you're here looking at the show. Go online, testosteronesports.com. There's so much stuff on there for you content-wise. You want to see the rankings, you want to see the writers' pages, but above all, you want to see this video content that we put out there updated on a weekly basis. So if you missed the show, check it out online at testosteronesports.com.
Hey everybody, we'd really like to thank all of our supporters. We here at Testosterone Sports put a lot of effort into the production that we do on a weekly basis. Go on there, specifically come onto the Fat Chat. You get a chance to interact with all of us, with other people around the Twin Cities. We just love fantasy football, and it's something that we do on a regular basis, so check it out. Join with us to win in your league. It's something we love, and we just appreciate everything that you guys do to join in to be the 4th member of Testosterone.
can't get enough of the yeast or all these guys, you have rants and raves you want to read, check out our writers pages on the website, testosteronesports.com. I go off on a weekly basis. Jeff brags about how good his team is in our league. Jesse has some crazy stuff on there. There's a guy named Will who drops some things I can't talk about on television. Check out our writers pages, testosteronesports.com, for a little more of the yeast.